I don't know what it is, but this September is a fantastic time to be a comic book fan. There are so many great things coming out. So today I want to talk a little bit about the #1 issues specifically that are coming out this month. And yes, I know, it's already like the second week of September. I missed the first week, but I'll still tell you what came out those weeks, and if they interest you, go to your shop today and get them. So I won't be covering every single #1 issue that comes out in September. There are just way too many, but I will be talking about, the main publishers. I do feel kind of bad. You know what? DC Comics is my bread and butter. That's what I've been reading the most since I was a kid. Going to the library, grabbing some Flash, Infinite Crisis. So yeah, I got a soft spot for DC Comics, and that's still what I read most of today. There are some pretty interesting DC Comics that are coming out this month. So yeah, I will only be talking about mostly Marvel and DC. Sprinkle in a little bit of Image Comics and Dark Horse every now and then. But I'm not going to go much further just because I don't have enough exposure to that area of indie publishing, and I'd like to. So if you have any recommendations, let me know below. So last week, the week of September 6th, there were 3 main DC Comics #1s that came out. All comics of, beloved characters that are not the most popular, but hopefully will reach a new audience. One of them is the Birds of Prey, which is a classic female-led team that has had a lot of different members over the years, but this time it's interesting because it has who is on the team. There is Cassandra Cain, Batgirl, Black Canary, as always, Harley Quinn, Zealot from the Wildstorm universe, I believe, and my personal favorite, Big Barda. The art is also by Leo Romero, who did the art on Gerard Way's True Lives of the Fabulous Killjoys, which was excellent. So if you're interested in any of those characters, or just a solid new team book, then you should check it out. But there are 2 female superheroes that are not on the Birds of Prey right now. That's because they're in their own book, Fire and Ice, Welcome to Smallville, a new series featuring, you guessed it, Fire and Ice from Justice League International. So if you've read those books and you really have like a strong affinity for these characters and their relationships, then hey, might as well check it out. And of course, with the new Blue Beetle movie out, there is an ongoing Blue Beetle series. I believe Blue Beetle just had like a mini series called Graduation Day that you can pick up in trade right now. But this is a new ongoing series, so if you like the movie, all like 12 people who watched it, which is really unfortunate because I had a good time in the movie. It was solid overall. Then you should pick up Blue Beetle #1. Marvel-wise, there was one new #1, and that is Silver Surfer Rebirth Legacy #1. So if you're a fan of like old school Silver Surfer comics, there you go. From the Image side of things, there is Kill Your Darlings #1, written by Ethan and Griffin, I believe, who are part of the Kids Love Chains company that's under the Image umbrella with Donny Cates and Ryan Stegman. I know they helped run his podcast for a while. So the synopsis says it is an epic tale of a little girl that loves her little dreamland, but the dreamland quickly turns into a nightmare as the line between fiction and reality blurs. So that one looks pretty interesting, and while I did not pick it up last week, I'm intending to see if they have any copies left at my store when I go this week. And now let's get into my most anticipated #1s of the next few weeks of September. The week of September 13th, Joshua Williamson is writing the new Batman and Robin series. Now, we haven't had a Batman and Robin series since the New 52, so I'm really excited to read this, and the art is by Simone DeMeo, and it looks absolutely stunning. I've heard nothing but good things from people that have previously read it, so if you love Joshua Williamson's writing, which I personally do, and you enjoy the relationship between Bruce and Damian, then it's probably worth a read. For Marvel, the week of the 13th, there are 3 #1s coming out. A new Daredevil series. Daredevil #1, written by Saladin Ahmed and art by Aaron Cooter. Chip Zdarsky wrapped up his run on Daredevil, and if you are interested in reading Daredevil, there's no better time to jump on than right now, unless you want to go back and read all of the excellent Daredevil runs, because there's not a lot of bad ones. We have a new Avengers title called Avengers Inc, about Janet Van Dyne, or you might know her as the Wasp, in a thrilling mystery adventure written by Al Ewing with art by Leonard Kirk. I mean, Al Ewing stuff is always great, so there should be no reason for you not to pick it up, unless you don't like a mystery story, but it's Al Ewing. What are you doing? And this one, I don't know if I would recommend it, but I wanted to put it in the list because it's just interesting. It's Star Wars Obi-Wan Kenobi #1. There was an Obi-Wan Kenobi series last year in 2022 that was pretty good. I enjoyed it. It went through all these different stages in Obi-Wan's life, but this is a direct retelling of the Disney Plus series that came out. So that's kind of weird. I honestly don't know why they're doing that, so I won't be getting it. But if you want to get it, if you just really loved that Obi-Wan show and you want a picture of it on your wall, get Obi-Wan #1, I guess. On the indie side of things, there are 2 #1s I want to talk about. One is from Image Comics, which is Creepshow, the second volume, #1, an anthology of horror stories, and one of which is written by Garth Ennis. So if you are a fan of Garth Ennis's work, I personally am not, but that's okay, to each their own. You read what you enjoy. But you know, October's coming up, Halloween time, spooky season, and so Creepshow #1 could be a great way for you to get into that like super spooky spirit. And then from Dark Horse, from Dark Horse there is The Alternates #1. It's written by a bunch of people like Patton Oswalt, Jordan Bloom, Tim Seeley, with art by Christopher Mitten and Tess Fowler. Now, I haven't read Minor Threats yet, but I really want to. I want to get my hands on the trade because I've heard great things about it. But this story just seems really intriguing. It's about a group of V-list superheroes that seemingly sacrificed themselves to save the multiverse, but instead they were transported to another universe where things are like... The synopsis describes things as 4-dimensional, but then 5 years later they return back to their 2-dimensional world and they have to like readjust to society. I believe one of the main tensions is that elements from this 4-dimensional reality have entered their 2-dimensional one in the form of a drug. So probably, I'm guessing, these people would become addicted to that feeling that they used to have when they were in that 4th dimension or whatever. But it seems really interesting. So if you're interested in this alternate, pun intended, take on superheroes dealing with reintegrating themselves into society while at the same time like letting go of the past, but then the past comes to them in a not good way. How do they deal with that? I don't know. There's a lot to explore there, so I'm really excited to see how it'll turn out. And then the week of September 20th. This is a huge week for DC because Wonder Woman is being relaunched by Tom King with art by Daniel Sampere. Now, Tom King wrote a story in the Wonder Woman 850 issue, and that introduced her daughter, Trinity. Now, the last time Tom King was on an ongoing series, it was Batman. So do with that what you will. But there seems to be a lot of hype around this issue and this storyline that he has planned. And I think Tom King has just been getting better and better as a writer, which is high praise considering that like his early stuff is still so good. So Tom King fans, pick up Wonder Woman #1. Why not? The same week, there is also a new Green Lantern comic coming out. Philip Kennedy Johnson has been building up to a John Stewart ongoing series with the backups in the current Green Lantern title. So if you're a fan of Philip Kennedy Johnson, who has been doing an amazing job on Action Comics, or if you just love John Stewart like everybody does, I don't know one person that is like, John Stewart is a terrible person, Green Lantern thing, he's the worst. Thanks to the Justice League animated series, everyone loves John Stewart, and I am here for it. So that's Green Lantern War Journal #1. And finally for DC, on the week of the 20th, there is Batman Gargoyle of Gotham #1. It looks like the Batman Gargoyle of Gotham #1 is actually coming out on the 16th. And yes, that is a Saturday, but it's released to celebrate Batman Day. That change happened like this week. Yesterday I could have sworn it was the 20th, and now it's the 16th, so what do I know? Now this is a new miniseries by Rafael Grampa, who did the art in, well, what I know him from, Dark Knight Returns, The Golden Child. I don't know, the one shot from Frank Miller. So Rafael Grampa's art is amazing. I've seen his other sketches that he's done, and he's so inventive and has such a vivid imagination. So I cannot wait to see what he'll do with this. But there's been quite a lot of promotion and marketing for this book. They even made a live action teaser for the comic. So I think they have a lot of faith in it. And you should too, so you should totally pick it up. Now, for Marvel, on the week of September 20th, there is Uncanny Spider-Man #1. And don't be confused, this is actually not a new Spider-Man book, it is a new X-Men book, specifically Nightcrawler. This book caused so much confusion when it first showed up in the solicits. It was like, Uncanny Spider-Man is a part of Fall of X? What is that? And then you see the cover, and it's obviously Nightcrawler wearing a Spider-Man-ish costume. And everyone's like, oh, okay, I see. But this book is about Nightcrawler after the events of the Hellfire Gala is kind of on the run. He's just fighting crime in New York and having a good time. It's written by Cy Spurrier with art by Lee Garbett, both great creators in their own rights. And honestly, something tells me that Nightcrawler is going to be acting more like Spider-Man than Spidey is in his own book. But we'll see. Then a very interesting crossover, Predator vs. Wolverine #1. It's written by Benjamin Percy, who's writing the current Wolverine ongoing series, with art by Greg Land. Do with that what you will. But, man, this is hard, because if you're a huge fan of Predator and Wolverine and just want to see two hunters just going at it, then totally pick it up. But I don't know if I can really promote the Greg Land art. It's just not my thing. If you like it, good on you. You like what you like, but I can't. I just feel like they could have gotten someone so much better. Like the cover art is fantastic. It's by Marco Cicchetto and it looks amazing. And you've got all of these other creators like Ryan Stegman or like Adam Kubert, both who do an amazing job on a book like this. But what can you do, I guess? Slight correction, Greg Land is actually not the only artist on this book. It's also drawn by Ken Lashley and Andrea DeVito, so don't let one artist be the reason you don't pick up a book. Hi. Now there's one more week in September, and that is the week of September 27th. For Marvel, nothing big. But for DC, we're getting a new Flash #1, written by Cy Spurrier, the same guy who's writing the Uncanny Spider-Man book, with art by Mike Deodato Jr., which is interesting to me. Clearly, if you love The Flash, great jumping on point, you should definitely go at it. Cy Spurrier is a great writer, and if Wally West is your favorite Flash, then absolutely. But the art by Mike Deodato Jr. is interesting. I don't know why, like his art style seems a lot more moody than I would be used to with the Flash. Flash art, in my opinion, this is pure opinion right here, should be a lot more kinetic. That's why Francis Manapul did such a great job in the New 52 era. But it should be kinetic and vibrant, and I just get like such like moody vibes from Mike Deodato Jr.'s art. So the point I was trying to make that wasn't conveyed very clearly is that Mike Deodato Jr.'s art is a lot more realistic. You know, with the Flash, with his fast movements, I've always found personal taste, that an exaggerated art style really lends itself to the Flash's world. And Deodato is known for like a more realistic take with like lots of heavy shadows instead of like the vibrant, more colorful and energized look that we've gotten from other Flash artists in the past. But, you know, I haven't seen it yet, so who am I to judge? And there is also Powergirl #1. Now, Powergirl is an interesting character. She is a personal favorite of mine, but not for the reasons that you think. It's because as a kid, I read Infinite Crisis so many times. I would devour that thing, and she plays a pretty important role. And I really emotionally connected with her as she was someone who had nobody. She had no home, no place to go to. She had the Justice Society, of course, but she was just lost. And her whole journey is trying to find her place in the world. But now, we've been getting more and more Powergirl as of recently, which has been pretty interesting. She's been in the Action Comics backups, and she had her own one-shot, and now apparently that did well enough that they're giving her a whole series. Like, people love Powergirl. I don't know if I can say that they love her for the same reasons that I love her, but like, this is pretty exciting. She hasn't had her own ongoing series since the Amanda Conner, Jimmy Palmiotti era, like 10 plus years ago. So like, I'm very excited for this. And I hope that it stays true to her character, because currently she's been like having that sort of identity crisis again as part of the Superman family, but not really, because she's from another universe, which is weird. You think it wouldn't matter when one of them is like, why does Superman not threatened by Superboy if he's a clone of him and his greatest enemy? But for Supergirl and Powergirl, they have like this like weird rivalry because they're the same person but from different universes. I don't know. For me, it's just kind of weird. But I understand what they're getting at, and it's an interesting theme to explore, so I hope that I just hope it's done well. Now, no Marvel comics for the week of the 27th, but there are two indie books I want to talk about. One is Edenwood #1, released by Image Comics, written and drawn by Tony S. Daniel. If you know Tony S. Daniel from his long run on Batman and Detective Comics, and like, he's worked on everything pretty much. This is a book that he's putting out about a multiversal war of demons versus witches, which just sounds awesome, right? So that one is very intriguing, and I'm probably gonna pick that up. And the last thing on the list is Coda #1, the second volume. The first was a whole ongoing series, and they're bringing it back, written by Cy Spurrier. That's like the third time he's on this list, and he's getting a lot of work these days. Good for him. With art by, gosh, I'm gonna butcher this, Matthias Bergara. But they are the ones that worked on the original Coda series, and now they're coming back together. Did they both work on Step by Bloody Step? I think they did. Yeah, they did do Step by Bloody Step together. Also a great book that you should check out if you have not already. So that was a lot of books. There are so many #1s coming out this month, and I think we as comic book fans are just eating good. Now, normally I wouldn't make a video talking about all the #1s you should pick up because the market of issue #1s is so oversaturated that it like lessens the value so much. But I picked these ones, except for the Obi-Wan book, because I actually feel like these could do well, and they're actually exciting to me, and I think they're worth picking up. So if you are interested in any of these books, the cutoff order date is probably already done, but head over to your local comic book store and see if you can find them. It is a good time to be a comic book fan. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. You know what? As I was talking through this video, I do want to get into more indie stuff. So please recommend me something if you think that I would like it. I'm not a huge horror guy, to be honest. I do like fantasy and sci-fi a lot. Saga, fantastic. Birthright by Joshua Williamson, good stuff. Many Deaths of Layla Starr, great stuff. Like things like that, you know? So if you have any recommendations or any other topics that you want me to cover, just let me know in the comments below, and I hope you have a good one.